So, as you guys enjoyed my breakdown of Game Week 1 and Game Week 2, we're back with what we learned from Game Week 3, covering all of the big clubs in the Premier League. But because I have my own Manchester United channel, we cover Newcastle instead of United on this channel. So this is the order we're going to break them down. I'm going to start talking about Chelsea because I didn't even do a match reaction to the Chelsea game. I didn't have time. Arsenal, City, Tottenham, Liverpool, and then Newcastle United. So please hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I do want to talk about teams like West Ham and Aston Villa as well in the future, but I just don't have time to break down every single team in every single game. So I'm going to focus on these 6 today in Game Week 3. So we're going to start by talking about the Chelsea game, which ended in a 1-1 draw at the Bridge, which I think is a very disappointing result for Chelsea, considering they'd smashed Wolves, they had that positivity, they were playing so unbelievably well in the first half, and then Eze scored this wonder goal, and I think the intensity just dropped off a little bit for Chelsea. In that second half, Nicholas Jackson scores, Cole Palmer assists. We're going to talk about how good Cole Palmer was in a second. But Chelsea had 5 big chances to Palace's 0, and I have to say Chelsea definitely could have put another chance away and did enough to win the game 2-1. I know Chelsea fans are a little bit negative, but I think you did enough to win the game 2-1. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You're in the beginning of your Maresca sort of period. Be patient. Anyway, Cole Palmer. I want to talk about Cole Palmer because every time I watch this guy, he gets better and better and better. He's now got 15 goals in the Premier League for Chelsea, the most of any player across Europe's top 5 leagues since his debut in 2023. He's now assisted 15 goals. League goal and assist since the start of last year. He has more than Vinicius Jr. and Lamine Yamal combined, which is pretty crazy as well. But I want to talk about his performance particularly today, or yesterday, versus Crystal Palace. One thing that was just unreal is his weight of pass. Cole Palmer's weight of pass and his vision is crazy. That assist was not an easy assist. The delivery, the weight of pass, he could not have passed that ball into Jackson any better. And I thought that Chelsea goal was absolutely fantastic. I thought the directness of Madueke in the run. I thought Cole Palmer, the pass, good finish from Jackson, good position from Jackson. And I have to say, Cole Palmer has found his best role in the 10. He can play as a winger, but he's so naturally suited to the 10 role. And while I think that he'll probably get less goals in the 10 role, but I think his assists will go up, he works better with the balance of the Chelsea team in the 10 role. He can pull the strings. He's given a bit of license and freedom. When you've got outlets like Neto and Madueke and Pace, the direct, Palmer pulling them in, playing those balls in is unbelievable, but also has the freedom to go out wide, get into the half space. Particularly, he's so good in that sort of right half space on the right-hand side, delivering sort of crosses or getting a shot off as well. He's always been lethal in the half spaces with his crossing, with his shooting. And I think he's now got the ability to really influence Chelsea. I think his vision, his weight of pass, his intelligence, his technique is unbelievable. I think 45 goal contributions in 50 Chelsea games is just an absolute joke. And every time I watch Palmer, he gets better and better. He's not a one-season wonder. He's generally a world-class player. And it feels really weird to call him a world-class player after the fact that a year ago people were questioning why Chelsea has signed this guy. But I think you have to say that Palmer is a world-class player. He's been doing it for a year consistently. He performs when Chelsea play well. He performs when Chelsea play badly. He's so unbelievably good. I think the Colwill tackle, the Madueke run, the Palmer pass was just a fantastic goal from Chelsea, and it showed how young and exciting their squad was. And I thought Chelsea in that first half were unbelievable. I think Madueke could have got a goal. Jackson probably should have got a second goal in the second half. I thought Chelsea played some really good football for that first half of the game, and I thought they were going to win that game 2-3-0. I thought Chelsea were unbelievable. I thought Moises Caicedo looked a lot better. He worked quite well. He was pinging the balls. He was going deep. I could see Chelsea doing these 3-1-6 and these 4-1-4-1. I could see what Maresca was trying to do, and I saw this really good football from Chelsea. But in the second half, they dropped off the pace a little bit. They fell asleep. They let Palace have some chances, and Eze scores a fantastic goal. Now, once Palace score, they absolutely part the bus, and I think Chelsea lacked the intensity. Chelsea did enough to win that game. Maresca coached to win, but they didn't take the chances. Eze scores a wonder goal because he's a phenomenal player, and I felt that Chelsea just lacked that intensity. Palace part the bus after that, and obviously Dean Henderson made some brilliant saves. He was playing like David De Gea did back in the day versus Arsenal, where he was just saving everything. But I felt that Chelsea dropped off a bit in that second half, and from what was a really promising first half from them, turned into a disappointing second half. I did think that Enzo Fernandez himself, I've not been impressed with him this season. Caicedo, I thought, looked better, and I thought Caicedo, when he had a run against next to Gallagher, or when he played with Lavia against City, I thought Caicedo's looked good. I don't know about Enzo Caicedo together. They don't bring the best out in each other. I thought Caicedo's looked better with Lavia and Gallagher next to him. In terms of the second half, Chelsea was slower. They dropped off the pace. I thought Mudryk looked decent when he came off the bench. He tried to make things happen. I think there was a big difference between the first and second half. But if I was a Chelsea fan, I would not be worried. Inconsistency is part of a rebuild. There's promising signs. You're showing moments. Not a good first half versus Wolves, but a good second half. You're showing what you can do. It's just about establishing that consistency. And to be fair, the ref wasn't very good to Chelsea. But I do want to quickly talk about Levi Colwill. If you know me, I really rate Levi Colwill. I thought Fofana and Levi Colwill have looked really good in these opening games for Chelsea. I thought they did enough to get a clean sheet today, but the Eze goal was just brilliant. But Levi Colwill on the ball, his progression, his ball carrying. I spoke in my last video on Chelsea about how good Levi Colwill was on the ball, and we saw that again today, breaking the lines, playing the ball, carrying the ball. I think Colwill is a fantastic player, and I think Maresca's system suits him, and obviously Poch playing at left back last season didn't help, so Colwill playing centrally will be really beneficial for Chelsea as well. But let's talk about Arsenal. And let's talk about that red card as well. So the Arsenal game, you can't really talk about the game without talking about the red card, because the red card did influence the game. Could Havertz have won it for Arsenal? Yes. Could Brighton have definitely won that game 2-1 without some good saves from Ryan moments? Absolutely. Arsenal had 5 big chances to Brighton's 3. A game that ended 1-1 that definitely could have ended 2-2. An end-to-end game, but I do think Arsenal were in control of the game, and then they went down to 10 men and Brighton took control of the game. And that's the most possession the team's had at Emirates in a long, long time. But I do want to say this. Is it technically a second yellow for Rice in the book of rules? Yes. But I always say you've got to look at every decision with common sense. Was that a silly red second yellow to give Declan Rice? Yes. Do I think the ref wanted to send Rice off? Yes, and that's why he did it. Because he didn't send João Pedro off for booting the ball, but Rice nudges the ball and he gets sent off. It's consistency. How many Premier League games has players get the ball away and not been booked? So many games. Cole Palmer done it. Yesterday, Saka did it at the end, delayed the restart at the end of the game. He didn't get a yellow card. I felt that referee wanted to just be honest, send off Declan Rice. And while it's over and the letter of the law, it is a yellow card, I do think the ref could have used common sense. I think he ruined the game for Arsenal by that second yellow, because you look at Joe Linton not getting a yellow for choking a player, Mosquera not getting a yellow, and then you look at Rice getting yellow for nudging the ball away. It's the consistency. It's not about following the rule book. Sometimes it's about using some common sense when it comes to that kind of stuff as well. But continuing on Arsenal, I do think Havertz and Saka have started the season unbelievably well. Kai Havertz now has 10 goal involvements in his last 9 Premier League games at the Emirates. I think he's got 18 goal contributions in 2018. Only Palmer has more. I think Haaland may be equal to him now because of his hat-trick as well. But unbelievable numbers from Havertz. And if you look at Saka this season, goal and assist versus Wolves, assist versus Villa, assist versus Brighton. Saka has started the season phenomenally well. I think he definitely slowed off a bit and tired a bit towards the end of the Brighton game, but I thought he started the game really well. And what I like about Saka is he's so electric. He likes to make things happen. He can cross, he can shoot, he can pass. He works hard. He can be this man. He can carry the ball. I think he's a phenomenal player, and I think this is going to be Saka's best ever season for Arsenal. I think he's getting to the age where he's going to get better and better each season, but he's starting to get into his prime years. He's got the confidence. Arsenal, he's got a good team around him, a sustainable system. I think we're going to see a mad season from Bukayo Saka. At Arsenal, which then brings us into Manchester City. And Erling Haaland, I cannot stand how good he is. Now, I thought, West Ham had some moments, Kudus looked very impressive. But yes, Manchester City were absolutely incredible. 5 big chances, 2 West Ham's 1. 68% possession, 3.0 expected goals. City, I hate to say it, they look brilliant. What I do hate is how good Erling Haaland is. I cannot stand how good he is. First player to score 7 goals in the first 3 Premier League games of the season. If Erling Haaland continues at this rate, he'll accumulate 40.53 expected goals this season, which could see Erling Haaland getting 50 goal mark this season. Erling Haaland could be the player to break the 40 goal mark. I think 50 goal mark's crazy, but he could be the first Premier League player to break the 40 goal mark. And considering how good Manchester City look, how good the players are around him, he could do that. The thing about Haaland is he wasn't even crazy involved in the game. It's not like he made loads of passes and had loads of touches. It's just that when Haaland gets the ball, he's in the right area at the right time. He makes the right run. His intelligence to know where to be is unbelievable. And his finishing, when it comes to finishing, intelligent and boxing instinct, Haaland is the best. When you've got Manchester City around you that are going to provide the service, bam and bam, they go together like chips and ketchup so well. And it's so annoying. Erling Haaland needs to be stopped, and I feel like he can't be stopped. I mean, the only good thing is he's getting me points in FBL, but I just feel like, why can't he be stopped? But a player that's really impressed me, and I spoke about him in my Game Week 2 review, is Rico Lewis. 1 assist, 76 touches, 55 accurate passes, 93% pass accuracy, 6 ground duels won, 5 clearances, 5 passes into final third, 3 recoveries, 3 tackles won. Was fouled twice, 2 accurate long balls, 1 interception, 1 chance cleared. I thought he put a defensive shift. I thought he was so composed and good on the ball, breaking the lines with ease. He's such a Manchester City player. He's so technically good, technically gifted, breaking the lines with ease. So that this right back that's playing in midfield, that is converting, but then staying in midfield and breaking the lines and reading the game so well. And West Ham's a really physical game. So to win 6 out of 6 ground duels, to do well physically, to win those duels and to not be pushed off the ball showed a real mature performance from him. But it was the composure on the ball, breaking the lines, progressing play, but it's his intelligence. Rico Lewis is an insanely intelligent player. He's been deservedly called up for England. But it's not that he can just pass and dribble and get into attacking areas so well when he reads the game and he helps with City in creating overloads and making moves and drawing out space and drawing defenders away and opening up passing lanes. It's what he does in the sense of his positioning, in terms of organising the teams defensively. His defensive awareness, his position, he was organising the team. And he's like this young guy that hasn't been anywhere near as experienced as the other City players. And he was in control. He was organising the team. He was so mature. He was so composed. Rico Lewis is a phenomenal player. Which brings me into the Tottenham game. So, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Tottenham played that bad versus Newcastle. I think Newcastle won because they were more clinical than Tottenham, and Tottenham had a few silly defensive errors at the end. It was like when Man United played Brighton. I said as a Man United fan, when we played Brighton, we actually did enough to get 3 points out of that game had we taken our chances, not defended like idiots. We definitely done enough for a draw, but we went away with the defeat. Man United played Liverpool and just got battered by Liverpool, and we did not do enough to get anything out of Liverpool, and Liverpool deservedly beat us. But I felt versus Brighton, we could have done something. And I felt that while Newcastle defended really well and was so dominant off the ball, I definitely felt that Tottenham did enough to get something from that game. I think Ange coached definitely a point, potentially 3 points. And I thought if you look at their previous 2 games away to Newcastle, the 10-1 aggregate score, I guess it's progress, I guess it's an improvement. But yeah, it wasn't good enough for Tottenham at the end of the day. Having Solanke, I think, would have made a massive difference. Brennan Johnson came on in the second half, was putting a lot of balls into the box in the second half. He was really making an impact. He was really making things happen. But with Tottenham having so much of the ball, 20 shots and not being clinical, they really missed Solanke and that striker presence. I think they lacked that killer instinct. They controlled the game. They dominated possession. They had the most chances. I could see what Ange was trying to do. And Ange, I think, did enough to coach a win. But it was terrible defending in the moment where they were caught out. And it was the missed chances that let them down. I think if I was a Tottenham fan, I would understand why you'd be upset and negative. 1 draw, 1 loss, 1 win. It doesn't feel good. And stats-wise, the results have not been good enough at Tottenham. But I think when you look at the bigger picture, I think I always try and look at it and say, you know what, the opening 3 games, it's easy to react to them, but are you seeing enough? And I think that Tottenham will still finish 4th or 5th this season. I don't think they're going to be in the top 3, but I do think Tottenham could finish 4th this season. I do think Tottenham will have a good season. I can see elements of what they're trying to do. I just think it was one of those days, and it's better than what they've previously done against Newcastle. I thought Dragusin impressed me. I think he could have obviously stayed on side for the goal, and I think potentially the lack of game time and alertness doesn't help him there. But I thought he made a monster challenge. His tackles were clean. He did not panic. He was playing against Isaac Gordon and Barnes. I thought he was very physically dominant. He did a very good job. I think he lacks the pace of Mickey van der Ven, and maybe that's another reason why he plays people on side. That lack of anticipation. But I thought out of possession he was solid, cleaning up, blocking. I think he's a good player. I think that Romero's a lot better and more comfortable than him on the ball, but I thought he was fine on the ball. I thought he was just a bit of a beast. He wasn't worried to get at someone from behind. His reading of the game was good. And I think, as the third choice centre-back for cover, Dragusin looks like a decent player for sure. He had a better game than Romero, but I do think Romero is a very good centre-back. And I see people trying to make out Romero's bad because of one bad game, but I watched him a little bit at Copa America with Lisandro Martinez. That pairing was unbelievable. Let's talk about Brennan Johnson, because Brennan Johnson, when he starts, is always really underwhelming for Tottenham. But Brennan Johnson, when he comes off the bench, looks like a different player. He always looks good for Tottenham off the bench. He forced a Dan Burn on goal. He creates goals. He makes things happen. He made so many runs down that right-hand side, creating space for himself, delivering crosses, and Spurs went up a level when Brennan Johnson came on. He ranked 2nd for contributions off the bench last season after Leon Bailey. He's electric. He was unpredictable. He was an outlet of pace out wide. And I think Brennan Johnson coming on really influenced the game. And I think he's a super sub for Tottenham. I think with Tottenham, when Brennan Johnson comes off the bench, he's really good. When he starts, I think he sometimes lacks. Now, that's Liverpool-Brentford. I've got the wrong statistics up. The game I really don't want to talk about. Liverpool versus Manchester United. So as you can see here, Liverpool won 3-0. Now, if you look at the statistics, United had 3 big chances, Liverpool had 4. And yeah, Xerxes should have scored 2 goals, and Alisson made some good saves since Xerxes wasn't clinical enough. But as my voice was cracking, those statistics do Man United nice, because I watched the game with my eyes. Szoboszlai missed basically an open chance. Liverpool probably did enough to win that game 5-1. Let's be honest, 5-1, 5-2. United should have had maybe 1 or 2, probably 1. Liverpool could have scored 4 or 5. So while the statistics do make it look not as bad for United, I watched the game. Man United might have had more of the ball. Man United might have only had 1 less big chance, and Liverpool's XG is only a little bit higher. But let's be honest, Liverpool controlled the game. They were the better team. They were absolutely all over us, and the stats make it look nice. And I have to say, Liverpool are in a title race. Liverpool are well and truly in a title race. And Arne Slot, the job he is doing at Liverpool, no new signings. Well, actually, he did bring in Chiesa, but he's not played any of his new signings in the opening 3 games. And look, in the first 3 games, Liverpool have had the most shots, the highest expected goals, and the lowest expected goals against. So if you look at the underlying numbers, Liverpool are top of the league. They've got 3 wins and 3. They've got 3 clean sheets, but they've been the best team. They've played Manchester United away, which was a bit of a test. Klopp could not beat Manchester United in the 3 games last season, and Slot has gone there and put in a masterclass. And one of the reasons I think that Liverpool could be in a title race, despite no new signings, is Slot is a very intelligent man. He knows what every team is about. And I have to say, Slot broke down Man United perfectly. Man United's weakness is Casemiro in build-up, pressing trigger. He absolutely annihilated Casemiro. They cut off the passing lanes for Lisandro Martinez, so we couldn't use him as a build-up and outlet. And Man United struggled to play out from the back because Slot got the spot on. And that meant that United had nothing in the first half. In the second half, they started to create a few chances, but Liverpool were 3-0 up by then and dropped off. But Liverpool used their legs, their athleticism, their aggression to score in the midfield. Liverpool won the game in midfield because United lack the work rate and athleticism in midfield, and Slot knew that and he took advantage of that. And the fact that Liverpool are playing this well in 3 games with not even implementing a new signing that Slot has done says, 1, Klopp's done really well with these players in the squad and made these good players, but 2, Slot himself has done a phenomenal job, because it's not easy to take over a squad that is not yours. I know he was brought in because they thought he was most similar to Klopp, but it's not easy to take over a squad where none of these players are yours and get them playing that well, and that is coaching from Slot. And he showed Ten Hag up yesterday, and one of his examples was how he's using Gravenberch as a 6. Ryan Gravenberch was the best player on the pitch. Ryan Gravenberch absolutely annihilated us. The amount of times he just completely ran through our midfield, he caused so many issues. He was winning back the ball, and everyone knows that on the ball, Ryan Gravenberch has the qualities to be a top number 6. Slot wants a number 6 that is good on the ball, that is technically good, and that's why he put his faith in Ryan Gravenberch, because he can break the lines, he can carry, he can receive the ball at angles, he can receive the ball in the half turn. He's very press resistant. Very good on the ball. But the questions around Ryan Gravenberch was, does he possess the defensive awareness and reading of the game to play as a 6? And his defensive awareness, his anticipation to sniff out dangers, the passing lanes, win the ball back for Liverpool, and then when he won it back, 6 times, play it forward quickly and influence the game was unbelievable. He was winning back the ball, he was sniffing out danger, and when he won the ball, he was playing it forward, playing those line-breaking passes, getting the Liverpool attack into space, and making Liverpool so lethal. He won 2 out of 2 tackles, he won 3 fouls, made 4 interceptions. His reading and understanding in his defensive game was good, but also he was driving through. Obviously, the Trent offside goal, he annihilated us. He was driving through, he was eating up the space in the United midfield. His power, we could not deal with Gravenberch. And I think the aggression and work rate shown by the midfield 3 and the pressing from McAllister and Szoboszlai and then Gravenberch carrying the ball was unbelievable. And I think Liverpool's aggression is what caused the most problems for United, because Maynard got pushed off the ball, Casemiro gave the ball away, Casemiro gave the ball away again. It all came from the pressure in midfield from McAllister to Maynard to Szoboszlai. So much there was causing United issues, whether it be build-up, whether it be forcing mistakes, whether it be winning back the ball. And then we're going to talk about Newcastle. Back-to-back home wins for Newcastle United, who played Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I don't think Newcastle were at their best, but I thought what Newcastle were at was very strong defensively. They worked as a team, they worked as a unit. They did not have Shah, they did not have Sven Botman, who would be their 2 primary centre-backs, which meant that their build-up was not as naturally good, which meant that they were going to have to be good off the ball, and off the ball, they were good. Tottenham dominated the game. Newcastle let Tottenham dominate the game. But Newcastle worked hard. They win in the second balls, and Joe Linton put in a monster of a performance. I think Joe Linton being missing for Newcastle last season was massive. Tonali and Willock also being missing didn't help, because you've got Willock, the legs, an elite carrier. He's a good outlet to have in midfield. Tonali, obviously, what a player he is. And then Joe Linton off the ball can do the dirty work, and he brings out the best in Bruno Guimaraes, because that allows Bruno Guimaraes to be more technically good on the ball and break down the lines. But Joe Linton was sniffing out danger, doing the dirty work. contributed to the second goal. You know, the awareness to play the ball through Tottenham's midfield, take advantage of that. His aggressive approach to winning back the ball was absolutely unbelievable. He did so well off the ball, and I thought how Newcastle won that was defending as a team, unity off the ball, working really, really hard, because Tottenham had a lot of the ball in the second half, and Newcastle were like, we're just going to be clinical, we're going to work really hard together. And that's what they did. And one guy that looked really good who got his start for Newcastle was Harvey Barnes. He looked good in their last game coming off the bench. He got a deserved start today, and I thought he was very good. He's had his injury troubles, but you know he can score. With Harvey Barnes, you get output. He's direct, he's unpredictable. He's a lethal player that can score, create, carry and pass. He's definitely best when he gets in that left half space, can cut in his right foot and shoot, but he's an outlet that allows Newcastle to be lethal on the counter. He's an outlet that allows Newcastle to be lethal outside the box. He gets goals, he gets assists, he's got end product. And while it hasn't been the best first year at Newcastle due to injuries, you know that if he plays, he gets end product. He's a bit like Jota, he's a bit like Trossard, where, you know, he doesn't always start and he's not always your most consistent player, but if he comes off the bench, you know he's going to produce something. He's got that end product. If you give him a good chance, you'll know he'll score. You know he's a clinical player, and Newcastle won that because they were more clinical. Now, looking at Newcastle, 3 draws and 1 win, but I still think they can do a lot better. I think they're missing a centre-back on the ball. I think there are no proper new signings, does not help them. I think Howard's a good coach with good players who can win games, and I think Newcastle will have a good season. I think they've got some really good players if they can stay fit, but I do think they were missing Shah and Botman. Their playing out from the back wasn't as good. I think they were struggling a bit more on the ball lately, and they were putting in a shift off the ball, and I think that is due to personnel missing. But I do think that Newcastle have had a good start to the season. I think they will have a good season. Guys, thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. See you next time. Bye.